and where can I share that with you, and how that continues to grow as ever. So exploring all. No one was telling me that it was wrong, but I knew that it was wrong. And I think
there was this sweet card from my kids and my husband saying, "We're so proud of you, Mama, and congrats."
Look, Paris Fashion Week, it's not just about the clothes. It's this whole world where every seat matters, every look means something, and one wrong move can become the moment you can't take back. Everything's silent, everyone's watching, and your composure is everything. So what happens when that all falls apart in front of millions? That's exactly what went down with Meghan Markle at one of these shows. And listen, what her best friend did in that moment, nobody saw it coming. Real quick, if you're curious where this is headed, go ahead and hit subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Drop a like if you're already hooked. All right, let's get into it. Here's the thing about Paris Fashion Week. It's not like other events. This isn't some casual red carpet where people smile and wave for the cameras and everything's loose and fun.
She knew it would get coverage. Meghan Markle's Paris Fashion Week visit draws royal commentator reactions.
No, this is a whole different universe. It's been designed to look absolutely flawless, like someone took perfection and turned it into a physical place you can walk into. The lighting hits at just the right angles. The music pulses at this low, hypnotic beat that makes everything feel important. And the models, they don't just walk down that runway, they glide, like apparitions moving through space, emotionless, untouchable. Their faces show nothing. No smile, no acknowledgement that there's even an audience watching them. It's all part of this massive illusion that's been put together with insane attention.
Make no mistake, chums, this is a friendship hanging by a
to every little detail. But here's where it gets interesting. The runway isn't actually where the real show happens. Sure, that's what the cameras focus on. That's what gets posted all over Instagram and TikTok later. But the people who really understand this world, they know the front row is where all the important stuff goes down. That's the top of this whole social pyramid they've built. It's not just about fashion anymore when you're sitting in those seats. It's about power. You've got billionaires who could buy the entire fashion house sitting next to editors from magazines that can make or break a designer's entire career with one review.
Front row. Now, when I saw Meghan arrive last in that gorgeous white look, escorted into audible gasp.
Rival designers are scattered throughout, watching each other's collections like hawks, taking mental notes on every single detail. Celebrities who've been dressed by these brands, influencers who can move markets with a single post, socialites whose approval means you've made it into a world most people will never touch. And everyone, and I mean everyone, has this stone-cold expression locked on their face. It's like they're all competing to see who can look the most unbothered, the most above it all. Because showing enthusiasm, that's amateur. Getting visibly excited.
What Dior staff knew, and what the public didn't, was that Meghan had been chasing a Dior partnership for over
that means you don't belong here. In this space, every single movement you make gets analyzed. You lean forward in your seat, people notice. You check your phone for half a second. That's a statement about how you feel about the collection. Cross your legs the wrong way. Fashion Twitter's gonna have a field day with it. Even the way you clap at the end of the show matters. There's this specific, polite golf clap that everyone does. Anything more than that, and you're trying too hard. Anything less, and you're making a point that the show wasn't good enough. And the silence during the actual show, that's sacred. You don't talk, you don't whisper to your neighbor.
Hey, Gossip Squad, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Wendy. And today word on the street is that Meghan Markle just pulled the most Meghan move ever.
You don't react beyond maybe a subtle nod or a slight raise of the eyebrows if something really exceptional comes down the runway. It's this unspoken rule that everyone follows because breaking it means you don't understand the culture. It means you're an outsider. In a room full of people who've worked their way up into these circles, being labeled an outsider is basically saying you're done in that world. Get this. Picture this environment. Total silence except for the music and the sound of heels clicking on the runway. Everyone sitting perfectly still, faces giving away.
Listen, let me tell you what really went down in Paris. Everyone thought this was Meghan Markle's big moment.
Absolutely nothing. This carefully controlled atmosphere where everything's been choreographed down to the second. It's almost like being in a museum where you're watching priceless art that you can look at but never touch. The whole thing runs on this silent agreement that everyone's going to play their part and maintain the illusion. And then, right in the middle of all that carefully constructed perfection, one loud, jarring laugh cuts through the quiet like someone just dropped something loud in a library. It didn't fit. It wasn't polite or subtle or controlled. It was this theatrical burst of sound that belonged in a comedy club on a Saturday night.
These supermodels of today make it look effortless, and that's why your eyes are glued to them and you're just admiring their beautiful form and their beautiful fashion. And you're like, oh,
Not in a haute couture show in Paris. That laugh shattered the whole vibe in an instant. And the person who let it out, that's when Meghan Markle's entire night started going sideways, piece by piece, with millions of people watching it happen in real time. So Meghan shows up at this Valentino haute couture show, looking absolutely put together. Black and white outfit, perfectly styled, everything on point. She's got that polished look down where everything seems intentional. You know, hair perfect, makeup flawless.
That Meghan Markle, her Balenciaga's own designer, invited herself, reached out to him and
Walking in with her security team like she means business. But here's what everyone noticed right away. Prince Harry wasn't with her. He wasn't anywhere near Paris, actually. She flew solo to one of the biggest fashion events in the world, and that alone got people talking. Now, the official story that came out through her PR team was pretty simple. She was there to support her friend, Pier Paolo Piccioli. He's this creative genius who's been working with Valentino, and according to the official line, she just wanted to be there for him.
It's a couple of days old, but I've got to ask, right? As soon as I saw Meghan Markle walking out of the Balenciaga fashion show.
Meghan Markle arrived in Paris.
Show up for a friend, celebrate his work, be supportive. Simple, right? That's what they wanted everyone to believe. Just a friendly visit to Paris to catch a fashion show. But look, the people who've been watching her for years, the royal watchers, the critics, the folks who analyze every single move she makes, they weren't buying it. They started piecing together a different story pretty quick. And here's where it gets interesting. The timing of this whole trip felt off to a lot of people. Like, why now? Why this particular show? Why fly all the way to Paris solo when she's been pretty quiet lately?
Okay, picture this. Meghan Markle strutting out of Paris hotel like she's just won America's Next Top Duchess.
To some people, it felt urgent, like she needed to get back into the conversation, needed to generate some headlines, needed to remind everyone that she's still here. Because here's the thing about that world. If you're not visible, if you're not making waves, people start to forget about you. And when your whole thing is staying relevant, staying in the cultural conversation, that silence can feel dangerous. You can't just disappear and expect people to remember you're still out there. Her showing up wasn't just about the clothes on the runway or
Meghan Markle, her Balenciaga's own designer, invited herself, reached out to him and said,
celebrating Valentino's collection. It was bigger than that. It was a statement. She was reminding everyone that she's still a player on the global stage, still someone who can walk into Paris Fashion Week and own the room. Whether Harry was there or not, she was making it clear that she operates on her own terms, that she's got her own thing going, that she's still very much in the game. The whole thing felt intentional, not in a bad way necessarily, but definitely planned out. This wasn't some last-minute decision to hop on a plane and check out a fashion show. It was a calculated move.
There's no consequences. So far, Meghan Markle's behavior has escalated. And now it's unraveling before the
time to get maximum attention. And it worked. The moment she arrived, cameras were everywhere. Headlines started popping up. Social media lit up with posts about her being in Paris. Mission accomplished on that front. But what she probably didn't see coming was how the rest of that night was going to unfold. So she gets to her seat, and this is where things start to get really interesting. The front row at these shows isn't just good seating. It's literally the peak of the entire fashion world's social structure. You've got billionaires who could write a check and own the whole brand sitting next to editors.
First of all, I do think this is the sign of an unwell mind. You know, you're never going to set foot in a
who run magazines that can make or break a designer overnight. There's rival designers watching every detail. Influencers whose one post can shift everything. People who've spent decades working their way into these exact seats. And they're all sitting there with these completely blank expressions, watching the runway like they're studying something super important. Meghan's sitting next to Markus Anderson. Now, if you don't know who Markus is, let me break it down. This guy isn't just some random friend. He's been in her life for years, and he's basically the person who built most of her social connections. He works behind the scenes, makes introductions, opens doors that most people...
It seemed like she was probably nervous to be there because she knows she doesn't really belong in that kind of fashion environment. So she walks in giddy.
Don't even know exist. He's a gatekeeper in these elite circles, the kind of guy who knows everyone and can get you into rooms you'd never access on your own. He's been there through everything. One of her ride or dies. So you'd think having him right there next to her would be comforting, right? Like having your person in a room full of strangers and people judging your every move, someone who's always got your back. But from the second they sat down, something felt off. The body language between them wasn't adding up. While everyone else around them is sitting perfectly still.
Let's rewind to the moment Meghan Markle decided Paris Fashion Week needed her presence. This wasn't a planned appearance. This wasn't months of...
Totally focused on the runway with that intense concentration you need at these shows. Meghan's energy is all over the place. She's restless, can't seem to sit still, shifting around, leaning in like she wants to say something. You can see her trying to engage, trying to connect, and there's this almost frantic quality to it that just doesn't match what's happening around her. Everyone else is locked in on what's going down on that runway, barely even blinking, and she's fidgeting like she's uncomfortable. It's this total mismatch between what the moment calls for and what she's actually doing. And Markus?
So picture this Paris Fashion Week. Flashing lights, velvet ropes, champagne flutes.
He's not responding to any of it. He's just sitting there watching the show like everyone else, face giving away nothing, eyes straight ahead. There's this tension building between them that you can pick up on, even through a screen. It starts subtle, just this quiet feeling that something's not quite right between them. But anyone who knows how to read people could see it. The energy wasn't flowing the way you'd expect when two close friends are sitting together at an event like this. All right, so here's where everything goes completely off the rails. There's this model walking down the runway wearing this gorgeous flowing gown that's just stunning.
In today's thrilling new episode of Basic Instagram Girl Energy, Royal Cosplay Edition, Meghan Markle decided the world hadn't seen enough of her.
Everyone's watching in that dead silence, that sacred quiet where you could literally hear a pin drop. And then Meghan leans over toward Markus and just lets out this laugh. But it's not like a quiet little chuckle you share with someone next to you. No, this was loud, like really loud, over the top even. The kind of laugh that belongs at a stand-up show or when your friend tells you something hilarious at dinner. Not here, not in this environment where silence is literally everything. It cuts through the whole room like someone just yelled in a library.
Picture this: Paris Fashion Week, flashbulbs popping, cameras flashing, and there she is, Meghan Markle. But
you can see it in the footage. People's eyes dart toward her for just a split second. Not long, just this quick glance like, wait, did that just happen? And in a space where everyone's competing to look the most unbothered and above it all, that kind of sound is jarring. It doesn't fit. It's this burst of noise that completely broke the vibe everyone's been maintaining. But listen, here's where it gets really wild. Markus Anderson, the guy sitting right next to her, her supposed best friend, the person who's been in her corner for years, he doesn't move, like at all. Doesn't turn his head.
She knew it would get coverage. Meghan Markle's Paris Fashion Week visit draws royal commentator reactions.
Doesn't smile, doesn't even acknowledge that she's there. His eyes stay locked on the runway, his face completely frozen. It's like she doesn't exist to him in that moment. He's just staring straight ahead with this expression that gives away absolutely nothing. I mean, picture this. You laugh at something, you turn to your friend to share the moment, and they just don't respond. They don't look at you, they don't react. They act like you're not even sitting there. That's what happened. And it wasn't subtle. This was a complete freeze out. He made her invisible right.
Guys, I don't even know where to start with this one. Paris Fashion Week, glitz,
there in front of everyone, in front of all those cameras, in front of the entire fashion world watching. It's the kind of cold shoulder that's so obvious you can't miss it, even if you tried. And the camera catches everything, like everything. You can see the exact second it hits her that Markus isn't playing along. Her face just drops. The laugh dies right there, cuts off completely. The smile that was on her face a second ago, gone. Just vanishes, like someone flipped a switch. She freezes up, and there's this flash of panic that crosses her face. It's so quick you could miss it if you blinked, but it's there. That moment where she realizes she just messed up and everyone saw it.
The news is saying Meghan Markle's Paris Fashion Week walk gave Zoolander energy, and honestly, they're not.
She turns away fast. Suddenly, her little handbag is the most interesting thing in the world. She's looking down, fidgeting with it, doing anything to avoid making eye contact with anyone around her. It's this classic move people do when they're embarrassed and don't know what to do with themselves. Just find something, anything, to focus on, so you don't have to deal with what just happened. The whole thing played out right there in front of everyone. Millions of people watching, cameras rolling, and this rejection just happens in real time. There's no taking it back, no editing it out, no pretending it didn't happen.
I smiled, but at that moment, I was almost about to cry. Many people criticized me for being cold or lacking.
It's captured, it's out there, and it's not going anywhere. And within hours, the clip is absolutely everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, you name it, it's spreading like wildfire. People are posting it, reposting it, slowing it down, zooming in on her face, on his face, trying to catch every tiny detail. The comments sections are going absolutely wild. Everyone's got an opinion about what happened in those few seconds. Look, people started rewatching every second of it. What was she laughing at? Why did it come out that loud? Why did Markus just sit there like a statue?
Now, let's have a look at Meghan Markle being weird and inauthentic. Meghan Markle walked into Paris expecting thunder.
Why didn't he even look at her? Was this planned? Was it real? What's going on between them? The speculation just exploded. Everyone turned into a detective, looking at how they were sitting, their faces, the timing, the expressions. It turned into this whole thing where people were debating what it all meant, what was really happening in that moment. Some folks thought she was just nervous, that the laugh was anxiety coming out in the worst possible way. Others thought there was way more to it, but nobody could stop talking about that cold shoulder Markus gave her.
Meghan Markle just tried to make her Paris Fashion Week debut, and honestly, it looked more like a last-minute PTA meeting than high fashion.
That's what really got people hooked. Why would her supposed best friend completely ice her out like that in front of everyone? That's the question that kept popping up everywhere. So obviously people started coming up with theories about what actually went down, and they split pretty much down the middle into two camps. First theory, this was just nerves gone wrong. Think about it. She's there alone, no Harry with her, sitting in this room where literally everyone's judging every move she makes. The pressure's insane. So maybe that laugh was just anxiety bubbling up and coming out at the absolute worst.
Brace yourselves, because Meghan Markle's latest stunt is sending shockwaves through the media. And it's far more
time possible. You know, like when you're in a tense situation and you don't know what to do with yourself. So something weird just happens. A nervous reaction from someone who's trying so hard to look confident, but just can't pull it off. She knows every camera's on her, every eye in that room is watching, and she's trying to play it cool, but it's not working. I mean, it makes sense, right? She's overwhelmed, she's faking this whole, I'm totally fine and having a great time vibe, and the laugh is just that mask slipping. It happens. People do weird things when they're uncomfortable and trying to hide it. But then there's the second theory, and now here's where it gets wild.
Have you noticed the change in Meghan Markle's expression after being ignored at Paris Fashion Week? No one expected that a single subconscious move would make her look like a...
Some people think this whole thing was staged, like intentionally performed for the cameras. Here's what people noticed. Right before she laughed, she glanced toward a camera. Not just a casual look around the room, a specific glance at a lens, and that timing, it made people wonder what was really going on. The idea is that she was trying to create this moment, you know, show the world that she's carefree, that she's out here having fun, that she's thriving and unbothered by everything going on in her life. It's this classic celebrity move.
I mean, you broke the internet with the collection alone.
but I think you also
where you stage something that looks spontaneous but is actually calculated to send a message. Look at me, I'm doing great, I'm laughing and enjoying myself at Paris Fashion Week. But if that was the plan, it crashed and burned. Instead of coming off as relatable or fun or carefree, she looked desperate, isolated, like someone trying way too hard to convince everyone, including herself, that everything's fine when it's clearly not. The laugh didn't read as genuine joy. It read as forced, like she was acting out a scene. And look, that's where her past as an actress comes back into play.
Did you know Meghan Markle became the talk and the joke of Paris Fashion Week? At her first appearance, she walked out like a superstar.
People won't let that go. Every time she does something that feels even slightly off, critics jump on it and say it's all an act, that nothing she does is real, that it's all just another scene she's performing, another character she's playing for the public. Whether that's fair or not, that's how a lot of people see her now. So when something like this happens, they don't see an authentic moment. They see a performance that didn't land the way she wanted it to. But here's the thing. The real mystery isn't even the laugh itself. It's Markus. Because if you know anything about this guy, his whole thing is being loyal.
I guess this is why they don't want to pay for her security detail.
And keeping things quiet. He's the person who's always had her back, no matter what. That's what he's known for. He stays in the background, keeps things discreet, supports his people without making a scene about it. So for him to do what he did, that cold shoulder, that complete freeze out, that wasn't just awkward, that was intentional, a deliberate choice, and people couldn't stop asking why. Like, what would make her supposed best friend just ignore her like that in such a public setting? There's gotta be more to it, right? Some people think their friendship might be falling apart, that maybe after all these years of being in her corner.
Did you notice Meghan mocking the model who fell at the Paris Fashion Show? 3 details show in detail why she'll never measure up to
Something's shifted between them. Maybe there's been tension building behind the scenes that we don't see. And this was it, finally showing up in public. Friendships change, even the really close ones, especially when there's this much pressure and spotlight involved. Others think he's just burned out. Look, think about it. This guy's career depends on him moving through these elite circles smoothly, keeping everything professional and polished. And if there's been constant chaos, constant headlines, constant drama following her around, maybe he's just over dealing with it.
Meghan mocked a model who fell on the runway, and Camilla laughed at the Inuit people welcoming her. No one noticed that they are actually the same kind of person.
Maybe this was his way of saying he's not getting dragged into whatever's happening anymore. There's also this theory that it was some kind of public warning, like he was telling her without saying a word that she needs to get it together, that this kind of behavior doesn't work in these spaces, and she needs to fall in line if she wants to keep moving in these circles. A silent stop that everyone could see. Or maybe, and this is what some people are thinking, there's professional distance starting to happen. He works for Soho House, right? He's got his own reputation to protect, his own career to think about.
Did you know Meghan Markle was practically invisible at Paris Fashion Week? As Anne Hathaway stepped onto the red carpet, the cameras exploded.
If being too closely tied to her is becoming a problem for him professionally, maybe he's starting to pull back, creating some space, making it clear that they're not as close as everyone assumes. Whatever the actual reason, that moment said everything without him having to say a single word. The fact that he didn't react, didn't acknowledge her, didn't even give her a quick glance, that told the whole story. And it's got people wondering if her inner circle, the people she's relied on for years, might be starting to crumble. So the laugh wasn't even the only thing that had people raising eyebrows.
No one realized it at the time, but Meghan's over-the-top performance made her a laughingstock. People who truly have status don't need to prove...
Throughout the entire show, Meghan's whispering to Markus, like constantly leaning over, trying to talk to him, making comments. And look, in most places, that wouldn't be a big deal. But in this world, at a show like this, that's breaking all the rules. Here's how it works at these fashion shows. When the lights go down and the models start walking, you watch in silence. That's it. You don't talk. You don't whisper to whoever's next to you. talking during the show is seen as massively disrespectful. It's basically saying you think you're more important than what's being presented, that you're not there to appreciate the work.
Have you noticed the change in Meghan Markle's expression after being ignored at Paris Fashion Week? No one expected that a single subconscious move would make her look.
You're just there to be seen. So when people saw her doing this while everyone else is sitting in total silence, it made it look like someone who either doesn't get the rules or just doesn't care about following them, and neither one's a good look when you're trying to fit into these circles. I mean, here's the thing about the fashion world at this level. It runs on these invisible codes that nobody writes down, but everyone's expected to know. How you sit, when you clap, whether you talk, all of it matters. The people who've earned their place in those front row seats, they get it. They know how to move through these spaces without causing the wrong kind of buzz.
Have you noticed the change in Meghan Markle's expression after being ignored at Paris Fashion Week? No one expected that a single subconscious move would make her look like...
But Meghan's behavior, the whispering, the loud laugh, the fidgeting, it just added to this whole idea that she doesn't quite fit, that she's moving through this world with a different energy, trying to play by rules she doesn't fully get. And when you're already under this much scrutiny, every little slip up gets blown up 100 times over. Look, on the surface, this whole thing seems like just an awkward moment that went viral. Someone laughed at the wrong time, got ignored by their friend, and the internet had a field day with it. But look past that, and there's actually way more going on. This was like watching a crack form in an image.
No wonder Christine Scott ignored Meghan's attempts to approach her, but shows great respect for Queen Elizabeth. Recently, Meghan made her...
That's been carefully built for years. A real look at what's actually happening beneath all that polish. Because no matter how put together someone looks, moments like this show you what's really going on underneath. And what it showed was pressure, intense pressure. The kind that comes from constantly having to prove yourself, stay visible, show everyone you're doing great. That's exhausting. And every once in a while, that weight shows up in ways you can't control. Markus giving her that ice-cold treatment, combined with that hollow laugh that didn't land. It showed what she normally hides.
And I also recognize the role that it plays in business. Part of it is, equally the work that you were talking about earlier.
That vulnerability, that feeling of maybe not fitting in where you're trying so hard to belong. It's the kind of thing that probably happens all the time when cameras aren't around, but this time everyone got to see it. Here's the thing though, this isn't just about fashion or who sits where. This is about someone who's trying to navigate spaces that don't always welcome you with open arms, trying to prove you belong somewhere new while dealing with everything from your past. That's not easy. And that struggle shows up in moments like Paris, when the composure slips, when the laugh comes out wrong, when the friend who's supposed to have your back doesn't even look at you.
What I'm going to talk about today is even worse than that awkward head bump Meghan Markle gave Balenciaga's Italian designer when she tried...
Those are the moments that show what it's actually like, not what the Instagram posts or PR statements tell you. So what does all this mean? That's what people keep asking. Was this just one bad night that turned into way more than it should have been? Or is there something bigger happening here that we're watching play out in real time? I mean, think about it. One laugh at a fashion show shouldn't be this big of a deal, but it became one. And maybe that's because it felt like more than just a laugh. It felt like a moment where everything she's been trying to hold together started falling apart, right there in front of everyone.
The news is saying Meghan Markle's Paris Fashion Week walk gave Zoolander energy, and honestly, they're not.
Is this what happens when the strategies stop working? When the calculated moves don't land the way they're supposed to? When the people you've counted on for years start pulling away? Or is this just what life looks like when you're living under this kind of microscope, where even a split-second reaction turns into a worldwide conversation? Because get this, most people can have an awkward moment and just move on. Maybe your friends tease you about it later. Maybe it becomes a funny story you tell at parties. But when you're at this level, when every camera's on you and millions of people are watching, one moment can define how people see you for months, maybe longer. And that laugh, that cold shoulder from Markus, that whole night in Paris, People won't forget it anytime soon. The question is, what comes next? Does she bounce back from this? Does the inner circle hold together or keep crumbling? Does she figure out how to move through these spaces differently, or does she keep hitting the same problems? Nobody's got the answer to that. But what we do know is that everyone's watching, and moments like Paris, they're not just entertainment. They're a look into what it actually costs to live the kind of life where every move you make ends up picked apart by millions of people who've never even met you. So that's what went down in Paris. One laugh, one cold shoulder, and suddenly the whole internet's going crazy over it. Tell me that's not wild. What do you think, though? Was Meghan just nervous and it came out all wrong? Or was she trying to create this perfect moment that totally crashed? And what's the deal with Marcus? Is their friendship actually falling apart? Or was he just over it that night? Drop your theory in the comments because I'm curious what you're thinking. And look, if you made it all the way here, you're obviously into this stuff where we break down what's really happening behind all the headlines. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications so you catch the next one. And if this got you hooked, smash that like button. Seriously, it helps way more than you'd think. Appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next one.